Hello everybody. Hello and welcome back. 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 Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining us here, then welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Please consider sticking around. But if you are rejoining me again, then welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is AuntieQ. ASMR. And I'm back again today, this evening, this morning, this middle of the night, whatever it is. It's like 2:45 a.m. 2:45 a.m. 3 o'clock in the morning-ish here on Sunday. What month is this? September the 13th. I believe today is that I'm recording this video. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but welcome. Whatever it is that you're having. Day, evening, afternoon, middle of the night. I hope that you're having a great one. And if you're not, then I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you found this video. We are about to try to see if we can do something about that. We're gonna try to do something about that. If you're not having a great day, evening, morning, noon, night, middle of the night, whatever you're having, then we are gonna try to do something about that, is what I meant to say. So, this evening, I would like to do another whisper word studies video. So I have my ASMR journal here. We have seen this before. This is where I write down ideas for videos, notes for stuff. I was featured in previous whisper word studies videos, such as the petrichor, the smell of rain, petrichor video, and also the more recent verso recto video, and similar to that last video, the inspiration for today's whisper word study came from another one of my word of the day emails that I subscribe to. But we will get into all of that goodness in just a second. First, I would like to prepare myself a drink, something to sip on while I tell you all of my bits and bombs of information today. So for my beverage, I'm gonna put you guys on to something. This is a drink that I created within the last week that I'm sure somebody else has already thought of because it's kind of a no-brainer. But I'm gonna show you guys anyway, because if I'm not drinking tea in my videos, then I'm drinking a Topo Chico. And that's what I'm going to be having today. And it's the base of ones that they always put in like old fashions. These are like for cocktails. These are like cocktail cherries. They're very overpriced. They're like $20 for this jar of cherries. But they're so good. So good. And I purchased this jar. I treated myself because I was craving old fashions for like a week. And so I bought a bottle of bourbon, a bottle of Angostura bitters, and a jar of luxardo cherries. And not vermouth though. I think that's the other spirit in a lot of old fashions. Yeah. So I think I was making like a mid-century old fashioned. I watched a video on them by How to Drink. I like watching his channel for cocktails. And I think the one that I was making, which was just with sugar, water, bourbon, bitters, and cherries, and an espresso orange rind. I think that is a mid-century old fashioned. He has a lot of really great information about cocktails on his channel. Totally just a side note. But anyway, I drank all the bourbon, so I'm not making old fashions anymore. I've moved on to tequila this month. I really don't drink that often, but I do typically have at least one bottle of spirits in my apartment somewhere for like the occasional nip. But sometimes I'll get a bug in my butt and I want to learn how to make a cocktail. Like that was this past week or so where I wanted to make old fashions with the idea of getting good at making them. I never really got good at making them. In the past I've done the same with gin cocktails. I've wanted to make good gin cocktails here and there. So I've gone through phases. That's not the point. The point is, now I have these luxardo cherries, and you can take the syrup from the luxardo cherries and just pour some into the bottom of your glass, like a good couple of teaspoons of it, because it's so tasty. And after you use all the cherries, you have a bunch of syrup anyway, so you might as well use it. And then I'll take like one of the cherries just to have something sweet and delicious at the bottom of the beverage. And I'll put that in there too. So right now we've just got a bunch of luxardo cherry syrup and one luxardo cherry in the bottom of the glass. And you can probably see where this is going already. Now for a step that I haven't done yet, and because I had this half of a lemon in my fridge, wrapped in plastic wrap that I figured I could use, I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon juice to this one, which I have not been doing to my other ones, but it could be good. From my dad's lemon tree and a Topo Chico from his fridge. So shout out to my dad for supplying the Topo Chico and the lemon. I'm just gonna squeeze this lemon until I have a good bit of lemon juice in here also. And doesn't that look pretty? Because of the different densities, the lemon juice is laying on top of the luxardo cherry syrup, which is kind of cool. And then because it is thicker, I'm just going to give that a quick mix syrup together, and then I will take my Topo Chico, crack that open, and fill it up. And again, I'm gonna stir before it gets completely full. And that's just to try to get everything, the cherry syrup and the lemon juice incorporated. And then I'll top it up the rest of the way. And that is my new fancy drink that I have been so very much enjoying. A Topo Chico in a glass with some luxardo cherry syrup and one luxardo cherry. And without the lemon juice, oh my god, it just tastes like the most delicious black cherry soda ever. It's so good. But it's gotta be less calories, because a Topo Chico is literally just mineral water, so it has no calories. And then a luxardo cherry is 10 calories per one cherry. So I don't know how many calories is in like 1 teaspoon of syrup, but one cherry is about the same volume as 1 teaspoon, and they are soaked in syrup, so I'm gonna assume that 1 teaspoon of syrup is roughly 10 calories, and I put like 2 teaspoons of syrup in here plus 1 cherry, so it's like a 30 calorie beverage, plus the lemon juice, which has got to be like 2 calories. Not that I count calories or anything, I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for something that is super delicious to replace your soda, and you happen to have luxardo cherries on hand, because otherwise this is not cost effective and not a good idea. But if you like Topo Chico and you have luxardo cherries at your home bar because you're bougie like that, I would 10 out of 10 recommend this. Because in a lot of cocktails you don't really use like the luxardo cherry syrup, just the cherries. So you're gonna have the syrup anyway. It's so good. I definitely think I prefer it without the lemon, which surprises me because I normally like everything to be tangy. But the cherry is just so good on its own. It really is like the best. It's like the black cherry soda that you would get from like an artisanal hipster like soda fountain, if that even exists in the 21st century. It's so good. It really is like so good. Anyway, I've spent 15 minutes babbling about my bougie drink that I didn't invent. Why don't I get into the video for you now? So like I said, this is going to be another whisper word study video. And the idea or the inspiration for this one came from another one of my word of the day emails. So I received a word of the day email which had the word Gadzooks in it. Gadzooks. 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 Let me see if I can write this backwards. G A D forwards, my backwards. Anyway, Gadzooks, which is not a word that I had heard before. And so I was intrigued. My interest was piqued, and I had to do a little bit of research to find out what that meant and where did it come from. And before I get into the definition of the word Gadzooks, that's actually where I'd like to start. I'd like to pull it back a little bit and talk to you about where did it come from. So, a bit of background for you from the ASMR journal, which I know that I've mentioned this before. I picked out because my mom mentioned I could carry this journal and pretend to look pious because it looks like a religious journal, and that'll tie into the theme of some of the word origins that we'll be discussing in this video. Now let me stop getting ahead of myself and like I said, back it up a bit and tell you kind of where this all comes from. So we will be dealing today with the concept of minced oaths. Minced oaths. Minced oaths. You know, people, you'll hear the phrase minced words, or somebody's mincing their words. Same thing. So minced oath is basically when you're coming up with a word or phrase to be used as a euphemism to avoid saying another word or phrase. Minced oaths are more often a twist of the usual pronunciation of the subject word or phrase, but they may also be formed by misplacing the bad word with something that rhymes, or at least has some interesting alliteration. Some come from other languages, but most of them are based in religion. So most of them are based in religion because of this whole concept of this linguistic phenomena out of which most of these minced oaths were formed, sort of by way of necessity. The linguistic phenomena that I'm referring to, of course, here is taboo deformation. So that's kind of the greater topic of today's video. All of the minced oaths, all of these words and phrases that I'm going to be sharing with you today are examples of taboo deformations, mostly for the sake of religious purposes, but that's what we're dealing with today, is the concept of taboo deformation. And that means the transformation of a taboo or forbidden word into one that is socially acceptable. Now, this phenomena exists across practically every language, but mainly they arise out of a fear of saying a certain word. The fear that if that word is spoken, there will be consequences, and largely that ties to religion, taking the name of the Lord or other highly prominent religious figures in vain. So there's a little bit of background for what we're dealing with today. Minced oaths born out of taboo deformation in the realm of religion. Usually religious in nature, minced oaths originate from the days when it was not acceptable to use the name of God, Jesus, or other figures in daily speech. I kind of already said that. So let's get to our examples. So this one you will have heard. Most of these you will have heard. So I think it's interesting. So the first one I wrote down for my examples is G. C, gee whiz. Think gee whiz or gee willikers. G is an exclamation. It is an exclamation. So, not a noun, not a verb, it's an exclamation, something that you interject. And its origins are informal North American dialect. Informal North American English dialect. Now, the meaning of G, it's a mild expression, usually of surprise, enthusiasm, or sympathy. Usually of surprise, enthusiasm, or sympathy. Now, that's the definition. But the origins in terms of taboo deformations, well, its first known use as a curse word. This is as opposed to its previous definition, which, oddly enough, was how to direct or steer a mule. So G was in the past a way to provide direction when steering a mule, but its first known use as a curse word was around 1884. And according to Merriam-Webster, the similar G's did not show up until 1923, oddly enough. So we got G around 1884, but we didn't get G's until 1923, but we'll discuss that later. The 1920s, trying to avoid saying the Lord's name in vain, became a little bit more back in vogue, so there are several euphemisms for the name of the Lord that originate from that time, this just being one of them, G's. Now, the next one that I looked up was one that I searched for because as soon as I heard the word Gadzooks and read the part of speech in the origin, I thought, there's another word that I've heard Stewie say on Family Guy that I understand based on context clues, and I know it falls within this exact same topic, so let me get a little bit more information about that one. And that one is egad, or egads. Egads. It is also an exclamation. Its part of speech is also an exclamation, and its origins are archaic English. Archaic English, dating back to around the 1600s. Now, it was likely a form of "oh God." That's what it was euthanizing. It was likely a taboo deformation of the phrase "oh God." Its dictionary meaning or usage is to express surprise, anger, or affirmation. Surprise, anger, or affirmation. Egads. Does anybody else like Family Guy? Stewie says egads as a common exclamation in that show. I feel like he said it even more frequently in the early seasons, when he was a little bit more evil Stewie. But I could just be making that up. He could say it just the same throughout the whole series, but I feel like old Stewie used to say stuff like that more. Family Guy is one of my favorite shows. I've told you guys that before on this channel, but I adore Family Guy. Just topping up my cherry drink. This time with no lemon juice. Cheers. It's so good, I swear. It's like the best cherry soda you could ever have. Like, seriously, try this. Only if you already have luxardo cherries. I don't know about where you guys are, but I spent, I think, $22 on those freaking cherries. It's so dumb. Anyway, example here. Gadzooks. This is also another exclamation. That's the part of speech. Gadzooks is another exclamation with origins in the English language, late 17th century. Now the dictionary reference dates back Gadzooks as far as the late 1600s as a shortening of by God's hooks, a reference to the nails on the cross. So Gadzooks, an exclamation from English late 17th century. It is a taboo deformation of the phrase by God's hooks in reference to the nails on Christ's cross. But the dictionary definition or way that you could use Gadzooks would be in an exclamation of surprise or annoyance. An exclamation of surprise or annoyance. Next up is sounds. Let's see if I can write it backwards again. Sounds. Not sounds like the ASMR sounds you're listening to, but sounds with a Z as in zebra or a Z as in the Z's that you'll hopefully catch from watching this video. So, sounds, part of speech, also yet another exclamation, with origins in archaic English. Humorous is the additional sort of descriptor that they gave. It comes from archaic English, humorous, so kind of like slang language, I guess. And the dictionary definition says that you can use this word to express surprise or indignation. Surprise or indignation. Another good word. But as far as a taboo deformation, it appears to date back to the late 1500s as a euphemism for by God's wounds. By God's wounds. Dating back to the 1500s as a euphemism for by God's wounds. And then here's just like a couple that I'm sure you've heard before. If you have seen many a familiar, or not many, I guess just the one familiar Walt Disney movie, Pinocchio. Jiminy Cricket, is a euphemism or a taboo deformation of Jesus Christ. So is criminy, and see also jeepers. So Jiminy Cricket, criminy, and jeepers are all euphemisms or taboo deformations of the name, the Lord's name, Jesus Christ. And as I mentioned before, they all were first used in the 1920s in an attempt to not take the Lord's name in vain. I think that's one of the 10 commandments, you know, guys. So that's like really important. Okay, and then just some other fun facts surrounding this topic of taboo deformation. Like I mentioned, most of them are religious in nature, but we do get some from other languages. I noted down a few here that the Dutch gave to us that I thought were funny. The first one is poppycock. 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 Say that 10 times fast. It's not that hard. Poppycock. Poppycock. Yes, it is. Poppycock. 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 Words have no meaning anymore. All it takes is saying them 7 times fast, and then it's just gone. Anyway, poppycock, from the dialect peppercack, meaning soft dung. I just really wanted to say peppercack, spelled P-A-P-P-E-K-A-K, P-A-P-P-E-K-A-K. That would be fun to make into like a jump rope dance, you know, when you skip ropes, and there's like, oh gosh. I'm literally trying to think of a single one from my childhood right now, and I can't. That's sad. We used to skip rope on the playground, and there would be like kind of a nursery rhyme chant thing, and you would have to skip the rope too, and I can't think of a single one right now, but they all had that same sort of cadence to them. Like kind of how I just said, like P-A-P-P-E-K-A-K. It made me think of that. Which now I'm not sure if that's connecting for you guys, because I cannot for the life of me think of a single one of those rhymes that we used to skip rope to as kids. I probably sound so old. I don't think that kids these days skip rope anymore, but I did as a kid. When I was a kid, at recess, we would skip rope and things of that nature. Back to my video now. The other one that I wrote down as an example coming to us from the Dutch in their language is the word scum, which comes from their word shum. Shum. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Shum. Shum. Shweem. Shweem. It's probably shweem. It's spelled S-C-H-U-I-M. Shweem. 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 Meaning froth or foam. Just some fun little anecdotal stuff for you there. And then I thought that this one was kind of funny too. This one was included in one of, I believe, 2 articles that I sourced for this video. I'm going to link those down below. But one of them mentioned that the word bloody was of uncertain origins, but is still believed to be a taboo deformation or a euphemism of sorts. So, bloody, the word bloody, is often used in England to add emphasis, such as in phrases like bloody hell. According to Oxford Dictionary, it was considered an unprintable swear word until quite recently, due to people believing it to be a blasphemous reference to either the blood of Christ or a twist on by Our Lady in reference to the Virgin Mary. However, dictionary also cites the source of the term as possibly a connection to the Bloods, a group of aristocratic rowdy men in the late 17th to 18th centuries. So says the citation, hence the phrase bloody drunk, or as drunk as a blood, meaning very drunk indeed. So, point being, there's some speculation there as to whether it's in reference to the blood of Christ or if it is in connection to this group of rowdy aristocratic men from back in the days. Still cool. And also, I like the word bloody. And, yeah. For the rest of this video, I just have the rest of this page filled out with some other honorable mentions. These ones, I'm just going to be providing you with the taboo deformation and the actual phrase that it is supposed to be euphemizing. I'm not going to get crazy with definitions or parts of speech. These are just some that I thought were funny, or would be funny to say, or might sound nice to say, or just ones that you've probably heard before and might not realize are taboo deformations. This first one's just an example of one that I thought was funny and had not heard before, but apparently in the past it has been used, and that is holy spit. Spit. S-P-I-T. Holy spit. I'm sure you can guess what that is in reference to. Holy I'm not gonna say it here. My channel's not monetized yet, but you never know, so we're not gonna say those words. This one I just thought was funny because I know we've all heard it before. Sacre bleu. Sacre bleu. Which, actually, it is an euphemism for sang de Dieu, which means God's blood. And then suffering succotash. Suffering succotash. Suffering succotash is actually, my stomach's growling. I had dinner like 5 hours ago. Suffering succotash is a euphemism for suffering savior. There's this one, odds bodkins. Odds bodkins, which is a euphemism for God's sweet body, which I just think is funny. Tarnation, as in what in tarnation, is a euphemism for damnation. Struth, which is one that I'd not heard before, which just sounds like a drunken guy trying to ensure you that something is the truth. Struth, the whole struth, and nothing but the struth. So help me. So help me. So help me. So help me. Bigora. Looking for a list, one on my list that means God. But yeah, struth. Struth was a euphemism for God's truth. God's truth. Locks of mercy. I wrote down because I just thought it was funny, because it's a euphemism for Lord have mercy, but it doesn't really sound like it. Like, it kinda does, but not really. Locks of mercy sounds about as much like Lord have mercy as bone slap the teeth sounds like bone apple teeth. Sounds like bone appetit. So that was funny. That's why I wrote that one down. After that, we have Judas Priest, which I wrote down because obviously the band, duh, and it means Jesus Christ. Jehoshaphat, spelled Jehoshaphat. Phat. Jehoshaphat means Jesus. Just never heard of that one before. I've heard a lot of iterations of the word Jesus or phrases and ways around it, but I never heard Jehoshaphat before. This one I think is hilarious, and I swear to God it is real. Jason Crisp. Jason Crisp. Jason Crisp. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Jason Crisp is a taboo defamation for Jesus Christ, but what it really sounds like is what the Church of Flavortown, run by Pope Guy Fieri, refers to as their Lord and Savior, Jason Crisp. Duh. Like, come on. And then we have Gorblimey, which means God blind me. which I guess was a common exclamation back in the day. I know that the Brits still say things like blimey. They kept a lot of I found a lot of like the old English ones I find are common in like British language. You'll see them on like British TV, but we don't really say them so much in America. Like nobody says blimey in America. Nobody says drat, which is also on this list. Drats means God rot it. God rot it. But yeah, we don't really say stuff like that on this side of the pond in America. But gorblimey would mean God blind me. Also, good garden party, which I just thought was funny, means good God. Good garden party. And it's a euphemism for good God. Godfrey Daniel. Godfrey Daniel is another one for God. Godfrey Daniel. Struth, the whole struth and nothing but the truth, so help me Godfrey Daniel. If I ever have to be put on the stand, that's how I'm gonna give my oath. And I'm not gonna put my hand on the Bible, I'm gonna put my hand on the ASMR journal. I think you have a right to do that in my country. If you don't believe in anything, you can swear on your own iconography. Obviously, this is iconography. All of this is iconography. Just kidding. Where was I? Godfrey Daniel. Okay, after that we have For the Love of Mike. You may have heard For Pete's Sake, which is for St. Peter's sake. For the Love of Mike is very similar. It's for St. Michael's sake. Crivens, Crivens, Crivens means God defend us. Not really sure how, because it doesn't sound similar. And then finally we have Bakora, which is by God, but also sounds like the name of a really cool heavy metal band. Bagora. And finally, Pajabbers, which is by Jesus. Pajabbers, 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 Pajabbers. And that's it, everybody. That gets us to the end of my little spiel about taboo deformations, word origins, and weird ways to not say the Lord's name in vain. And I'm gonna just brush my hair for you while I sign off of this video. Just to get those sounds. I just washed my hair this evening, that's why I'm wearing it down like I almost never do, because I've been waiting for it to dry, and now it's finally dry, so I can kind of run my brush through it. I feel like my hair is getting really long. I'm trying to split it evenly down the middle, or as evenly as possible, and then just kind of brush through all of that mess of hair. There we go. My blonde hair. Cool. I think that about does it for me I totally spilled that. Alright, everybody. And on that note, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful evening, afternoon, whatever it is. If you took a break from studying to watch this video, I hope you kill it on your test, okay? If you are watching this video in the middle of the night because you're up anxious and you can't sleep, I hope you're already asleep right now. Same to those of you who turned on this video to try to go to bed this evening. If you're listening to this in the background of doing chores, you're doing great. Keep it up. And I hope that you will come and visit me in my next video. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you might like for that to be. Also say hi. I'm very lonely. Bye. Just kidding. That did remind me of oh god, Drew Monson. He would always be like, leave me a comment, I'm very lonely. But he would always sing it like a really good song each time. Sorry, I'm just evidencing how I spend too much time on YouTube. I'll go now. But I hope you did enjoy the video. And I hope that you found it relaxing. I hope that you will like this video. Give it a thumbs up if it found some tingles for you. Leave me a comment to let me know what you would like to see next. And please, 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 please subscribe to this channel. Become a member of this little family here, full of aunties and nieces and nephews and what have yous.